and I guess I have to think of something else. Good morning. I have to think of something else to say instead of opening. It's me again. I should have changed my look, but I didn't. I'm just too lazy just sitting here thinking of a story I could tell you. Well, this story, it's not really a story. It's about the Tulsa, Oklahoma situation in the Greenwood section in 1921. I didn't know too much about it because I understand that it was expunged. Everything that happened, it was expunged from all the records, like uh, uh, the newspaper, the magazines, the libraries, and people were told not to talk about it. They just wanted to just disappear in people's memory. So the parents knew about it, but the grandchildren didn't know about it if they didn't read about it, and nobody talked about it. But it was a tragedy that happened, and it's very sad. And I think the truth should set everybody free, the black people and the white people. I know the children, the white kids today didn't have anything to do with it, and the black kids today didn't have anything to do with it. But what happened to your parents and your grandparents back years ago, sometimes it affects you today. Like the black people didn't have anything to leave their children year after year after year. And the white kids had everything to leave their children year after year after year because they had all the jobs, they had the police department, they had all the rules and regulations on their side. And we didn't have anything on our side. We just had to struggle real hard. That's why Mayor Angela used to say, "Still I rise." It was hard to rise, but if you want to survive, you have to think of ways that to survive with nothing. I mean, with nothing. Years ago, the what do you call it? The people used to throw out parts of the food that nobody wanted. They only wanted the good parts of it, like the shoulder, the steak, whatever, the leg. But they used to throw out parts like the gizzard, the guts, in the pork now, the foot, maybe the head, whatever. And so the poor people took those things and they learned how to cook with them because they had to have something to eat, and they couldn't afford to go to the store and buy the choice pieces of meat that people did. And then my father used to go to. We lived in the Gulf of Mexico, and he had to go to out fishing. He would go fishing and come back with sacks of oysters and clams and all kind of fish for us to eat on. We had vegetables that we grew in our garden, and we had water from the lake or pump. So it was always fresh water, but there was no chlorine on the water. So we ate, and we had chicken, and we had chicken only on Sunday. Everybody had chicken on Sunday. I don't know why that chicken was so special, but we had chicken on Sunday. And we used to see the minister coming down the street on Sunday. But the church, Alabama was a 95% uh, uh, religion, what you call it, Protestant churches, and about 5% Catholic churches. There was no other churches there. Because there was no other nationalities there. There was only blacks and whites. There was no Chinese. There was no Spanish. There was no West Indians. There was no Africans. There was, I don't know, no Middle East, no Muslim. There was none of that. Our community was so small that all we had, it was very limited to what we could have. So we were poor and raggedy, but we dealt with it. We dealt with it the best way we can, the best way we knew how. Now, the blacks on Wall Street, it was a situation that happened, and it was very sad. It was ignorance on both parts. Well, to think about it, it's something that happened to the black community by the white community, and all records of it was expunged from the books and everything, and we're not allowed to speak of it again. What a shame! What a shame! Such a things happen. There's a lesson to be learned for both black and white people. We're all ignorant. The truth shall set us free. Can you think of a situation that you something that happened to you when you were young and you did something that you're not too ashamed of today? And you don't want you've made a better life for yourself now. You married the man of your dreams, and you would hate for your record to to be noticed, be found out about the people in your life because it could cause you to lose your job, your friends, and just throw you in a hole. And you don't really want that. You just want to keep on. You're sorry about what happened, but the past is past, and nothing you can't bring back the past. So what could you do with that something? But this situation that happened, they were trying to hide it, but here now everything is coming to light. They say what you do in the dark eventually will come back to the light. Maybe not in that century, but the next century. Look at that digging up the pyramids and stuff. How long ago that happened? Well, I mean, what can I say? But anyway, the trouble with slavery that the black people did all the work. They worked for free. So they by them doing all the work, you learn how to do things better than the people who were supposed to have done them. They assign the work to you to do, and you take it over, and you do it, and you do it better than them after a while because you put what they know and what you know, and then you go ahead and excel with it. So that's why they was able to build up Storm of Weather. I mean, build up Wall Street. But Lena Horne used to say we had our own stores, buildings, banks, security. We had movies, theater. Lena Horne used to sing Stormy Weather. Stormy weather. There's no stormy weather. Lord have mercy. Don't know why there's no sun in the sky. Keeps raining all the time. This is appropriate for what happened. The white people couldn't take it because it made them look inferior, and they were just slaves not too long ago. So now they look at that Wall Street built up. They couldn't live in no other area except Greenwood. They wouldn't allow them to live in no other part of the city. So they built it up, and they built it up nice. But they said that some shoeshine boy made us a pass and some assaulted some white girl. Any excuse because they were just upset already about what happened. So any excuse to cause this situation they used it in any situation that made the black people look too prominent. How could you say they ain't no good? They're animals. They came from the monkeys, and they're living better than you. They couldn't take it. It's why they left. They were told to leave that community for a little while and for a couple of days. And when they came back, it was burned down. To the ground. They had helicopters, guns, dynamite, everything is down to the ground. And the people say, "Why? Why'd you do that? What made you do that?" They say, "Don't concern yourself." They ask why. What happened? There was nothing to concern yourself about. Just get over it and move on. Now, how can you move on with just the clothes on your back? How can you move on without clothes on back? Although you have the skills still in your head, you need clothes, you need shelter, you need food, you need money to start building again. And you have nowhere to go except the white person. And you're at his mercy for whatever he wants to do for you. Oh, after the blacks started to try to get themselves back together, the Ku Klux Klan came along and they started hanging people for no reason at all. And Diana Ross made the movie Lady Sing the Blues, and she saw the hanging bodies, and she said they look like strange fruits, and it's affected her mind. That she became a drug addict, and she couldn't deal with it. And it just all messed up. And I don't understand why white people hate black people because what did we do to them? They did everything to us, and then they blaming this our fault. They say white people is if you're white you're all right. If you're brown, you can come around. But if you're black, get back. They don't want to do nothing for you if you're black. I mean, that's just something. What's the name? Spike Lee made this movie about School Days or Jungle Fever, and they're showing you the people so prejudiced, the light skin thought they were better than the black people because that's what they were taught. If you're white, you're all right, but if you're brown, yeah, come around. If you're black, then nobody want nothing to do with you. And they're white. Some white people are very nice. I mean, they are so nice, and they'll do anything for you. But then there's some black people just mean. They outright mean. They just nasty and mean. There's some people blacker than me, and they pass for white. They go for white because they figure they're white. So why should I put down black on paper when I don't want to be black? That black people not treated right. I'm gonna put down. They ask you what you are. I say that I'm black. Now the thing about it, one thing that the white people tried to do with us is they tried to keep us separated. They didn't want us to mix in no kind of way at all because if they did, they would find out that we were just the same as they are. They didn't. We had to. We lived in certain neighborhoods. They lived across the track in other neighborhoods. We had colored and white water fountains side by side. If you went to the doctor's office, what you had to go in the back to the colored waiting room, and the white people went in the front to a big, nice waiting room. You had the movies. You sit upstairs. They sat downstairs. You had different schools. You had just everything was just different. And when they started to do jobs, talking about equal opportunity, and they had talking about going to school. They had that George Wallace down in Mobile, Alabama. We stood in front of the school door so to keep a black child from going to the school. I mean, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. But anyway, when it came down to jobs, they had like a thing called redlining. Redlining is where they had two sets of books. If a black person wanted to buy a house or property, they showed them books. If the white people wanted to buy a house or property, they showed him books. Because the white people, what they didn't want was a black person to buy a property in their neighborhood, because they figured it would bring the value of the property down. That's how they were schooled, they were educated, and that's what they really believed. And then we came to okay, they came to jobs. The jobs. My God, you couldn't even get a job in the 5 and 10 cent store if you were black. You couldn't get a job in the 5 and 10 cent stores where white people work. And then they forget about the big private companies. You couldn't get a job. Construction, banks, railroad, sanitation, Con Edison, all the city jobs. You couldn't get any of those jobs. They were just not for you. They were just not for you. Telephone companies, city banks, restaurant, bars, railroad, construction, any kind of driving. And I'm from Alabama. I know about the bus boycott. I had to ride the back of the bus and not at all. And that was education. Forget about it. Forget about it. No education. First of all, you wasn't allowed to read and write. But then after a while, they did allow it. Somebody found out about it. They did. They were allowed. So you were not allowed to go to the movies, have books. You're not allowed to be educated. The water, everything was just all messed up. Remember, okay, okay. Now there was no to go to the jobs. All the jobs went to the Irish people and the Italian people. These companies would go to the graduating classes of all these schools where they had only Italian and Irish, and they would hire the whole graduating class. You finish school, you got a job. You got a job. But not the black people. Then Adam Clayton Powell came along and he said, "Give a damn, let them in, let the black people in. Not only black people, let everybody in. It's an equal opportunity. Give a damn, let them in." I don't know if you know about Adam Clayton Powell. Charles Rangel let them. Charles Rangel took over Adam Clayton Powell. They set Adam Clayton Powell up to be killed like they did Malcolm X. They don't want too many positive images in your neighborhood, so that's what they did. And I know Spike Lee made this movie called School Days, Jungle Fever. School Days was where the black people and the white people, it was the light skinned people who had it better off than the black people, black skinned people. And then it's just to show that the superiority, the way they felt because their skin was lighter, they felt that way. AKA was light skinned and Delta was like the people that were smart. And I know I had families. I know how prejudiced black people could be with their mean self. Is that I had people from New Orleans, and they used to always say, "Enlighten your family." So I felt enlightenment. Is educate your child. But no, it didn't mean that to them. They meant that always date or marry somebody lighter than you. They'd be better off. Don't come here with no black person. Don't come in here with no black person. They ain't gonna take that. They ain't gonna take that. So I don't know. And they were Catholic too, and prejudice is all get out. Everybody's prejudiced, but they go to church on Sunday. Sometimes I wonder about that. You know, that's what Angela Mayer said. Still I rise, regardless of what problems you have. Still I rise. You got to keep on going because if you don't, if you get knocked down, you got to try and figure a way to get up. You rise. If you don't, people will step on you. So you got to find a way to to get up on your feet and to try to start again and so you can do what you have to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. I know a lot of people coming over here from different countries, whatever. They found a way to survive, and what they did was like all bunch up together, like in a room with maybe 10 people in one room, and they have sleeping bags, like bunk beds or hammocks or sleeping bags, and this somebody sleeping the night or somebody was sleeping the day. And then when they to save that on the rent, and then they would have just the banks wouldn't loan you no money. They had something like susu, and the susu was like everybody put a little bit of money in every week. And then when one person once a week would get a big lump sum of money so they could put that on a house or a business, you know. And so yeah, that's what you have to do. I mean, you have to find a way to do it. You have to find a way to take care of yourself. There's a will, there's a way. So I went to the Poconos one day looking at some time sharing property. And then afterwards, at the end of the day, I decided to go to a neighboring village. And I was looking around, my husband and I ran across this white man with a little girl, 5 years old. And she looked at me and she put her hand over her mouth like this. So I said, "What?" I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I thought you was a human." I said, "What did you say?" She said, "I thought you was a human. I said, I am. And then I walked away. But I heard her father say uh, to the wife, we have to take our children around different people, cultures, so they'll know because they don't understand. They're in the dark. And then I met a lady. No, that was a lady I used to work with at Con Edison. She retired and she bought a house up in the Poconos. So I said, oh, Poor Jervis. So she invited me up to see her house. So she was a nice lady and a good cook. So I decided to go visit. When I went to visit her, I had discovered that this lady who owned the house was a white lady. The whole community was white, but she owned the house and she was mad with the community. So she deliberately sold her house to a black family to make the neighborhood angry. I didn't know that at the time, but anyway, she did. And the lady bought the house, Sweet Innocent. Now, because the white people, when they found out about it, they was trying to get a white family to buy the house before closing date, or if not that, they were trying to get enough money together among themselves to buy the house and then wait for a white family to come along. They could buy the house. But the black family bought the house. Their papers were in and they were almost ready to close it, so they bought the house. Now, when they bought the house, the lady who was the main person trying to get her thrown out of there, causing all this stuff, was the same one that came over with the welcoming party. She came over with it. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. And, da, 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 da. And then when the lady came over and found out her neighbor, a black lady, was so nice and was a good cook, she was over there every day. They said, "Oh, here she come here again." They let her in. They let her in. But this one day, my children and I, my son was 4, my daughter was 5. So he said, "Let me take you for a walk around the neighborhood." So I said, "Okay." So we walking around. As we walked around, they came to a stream, and when we came to the stream, we walked closer to look in the water. But as we were looking, this family from across the uh, stream or the little lake there, whatever it was, little stream, he said, "Get out of here, niggas! Get out of here, niggas!" I say, "Wait a minute, mister. I'm not trying to buy a house in this neighborhood. I'm just looking." And the man kept screaming. So the old man that was with us, showing us around, he said, "Back away, slowly, turn around, let's just walk away to save confrontation. I can't beat nobody. He old, he can't beat nobody. My children little, they couldn't beat nobody." So we just walked away. But I tell you one thing, I never went up there again. I never went up there again. But as far as what's happening with the children today, I'm getting old and I won't be here much longer. But they're out there protesting because of this foreman thing, and because somebody took a video and they actually saw with the camera the man's foot or whatever was on his neck, and they saw the man attitude. I can't breathe. And they saw the guy and he was such an arrogant person. He had probably done so many things like this before and got away with it because he's probably protected. He's somebody's son or he knows somebody. So he was confident of himself and he killed that man. So the children, they saw both parties at the same time. They say, "This is just too much." And so they went out in the street. And like I'm saying, they're trying to change. Like this been going on for so long and they never make any changes. That a lot of time people do these things and they say, "Well, we're going to take care of it," but they wind up letting them go. They line them like a slap on the hand. They just let them go, to do it again and again and again. So people get overconfident and they just do whatever they want to do. So they just keep doing it. So now the kids are saying, "No, we're going to stay out here until you make some changes." And they've changed some of the street names. They've taken down some of the statues and got rid of some of the flags that was Confederate. And they're saying they want to take money from the police department, police funds, and put money into making this more of an equal opportunity for everybody, giving them more housing, education, health, whatever it takes to get you out of the ghetto, to give you on a more equal playing field. So everybody could have an opportunity. And stop lying so much. Lord have mercy, so much lies. You got to learn how to deal with the truth, because the truth shall set you free. All right, so that's all I can say. Now I've been talking so long, and I know you're tired. So I'm gonna let you go and rest a little bit until the next time. Bye. Bye. I love you. Bye. Bye.